How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Well, we just got this at the White House. The President of the United States, pause, freeze, tangent. Can someone please do an intervention with the President? I need somebody to do an intervention with President Trump, and I don't know who it can be. Is it the First Lady? Somebody's got to do an intervention with the President of the United States. I think the reason gold prices have gone up so much is the amount of it he has used to lacquer the Oval Office. I mean, it's like rust in the Oval Office, except instead of turning to rust, everything is turning to gold leaf. It's gotten unseemly at this point. It's just like a degenerate level of gold leaf on everything in the Oval Office. And someone please do an intervention with our president that the Oval Office does not need that much gold leaf, and the economy actually could use some of the gold. I'm pretty sure the president's gold leafing of the White House is single-handedly to blame for the surge in gold prices at this point. Goodness gracious. Now, I gotta play you this audio. I don't have the video. I got the audio. This is the president short time ago in the gold-plated Oval Office.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion. That I can tell you right now.
The reporters have all been dying to ask about Jamal Khashoggi, who, by the way, had questionable ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, among other things, and the hatred for the Saudi regime. My view is very simple. The Saudi Arabians are our ally, and we have been allies in the past with unsavory countries, and it is to our benefit. What I find very notable about the American press corps' antagonism of Saudi Arabia over Jamal Khashoggi and the 9/11 victims, there actually were a lot of allegations that the Saudi government knew about 9/11. And the media cares greatly about that. And I just find it very interesting that the media doesn't care about Disney's ties. I mean, this was an ABC News reporter of the White House antagonizing the Saudi crown prince about Jamal Khashoggi's killing and 9/11. I dare this reporter to ask the Chinese about the Uyghurs. Not going to, because Disney makes a lot of money in China. The NBA stars who refuse to come out and stand with the dissidents and protesters in Hong Kong. No tough questions of the NBA. The reporters are very, very selective. It's easy for them to go after Saudi Arabia. They don't go after China. They don't question other countries. They question El Salvador and they question Saudi Arabia because those two countries have leaders who are friendly with Donald Trump, but they don't want to question China. They don't want to question how Canada is dealing with Christians, or they certainly don't want to ask tough questions of the British government and the how they're dealing with the rape gangs, the Pakistani rape gangs. They don't want to ask any of those questions. But if you've got a country with a leader that is friendly with Donald Trump, they want to ask all those tough questions. It's very interesting to watch that dynamic. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the president and his speech to McDonald's. He said some interesting things. He said some very funny things, humorous things. This was the one that caught my eye yesterday. He was speaking to McDonald's franchise holders.
I'm thrilled to be here with the men and the women who are really the heart and soul of one of the greatest, most admired, and most successful companies in the history of the world, frankly. The one and only McDonald's. I've gone there a couple of times. And I'm honored to stand before you as the very first former McDonald's fry cook ever to become president of the United States. And I actually was there for about 30 minutes, and that was 30 minutes longer than Kamala was there. Despite her job at McDonald's, that didn't work out too well. And the person at McDonald's that informed us off the record that she never worked there, whoever you are, we appreciate that. That was very nice.
Yeah, the first McDonald's fry cook to become president of the United States. He lasted all of 30 minutes, and then he went to work on a garbage truck. You know, again, so many of the Democrats blasted that as a photo op in the campaign, and a lot of Americans found it endearing, particularly as it highlighted Kamala Harris claiming that she worked at McDonald's, and there is no record of Kamala Harris ever working at a McDonald's anywhere. And, you know, it was so interesting at the time that, like, you know, I've got pictures, and I know people, if your first uniform, your first time in a suit, things like that. There was not even a picture of Kamala, her first time in a McDonald's uniform. You would think that her parents could unveil the picture because, you know, if you're going to your first job and you're wearing your uniform, your parents are going to get a picture of it. And you know what the response was of Democrats, and I'm not making this up, was, you know, that was back in the film day and film was expensive. Surely they wouldn't have wasted their pictures. No, that's exactly the sort of thing you wasted film on, is documenting your kid. No uniform ever existed. And in fact, it doesn't appear that Kamala Harris actually ever did work at McDonald's, despite her claiming to. So that was the start of it. I just want to play you some of the clips here from the president on this speech.
While Democrats wanted to give Americans the largest tax hike in history in July, I proudly gave you the largest tax cuts in American history and signed the one big beautiful bill. I call it the great big beautiful bill into law. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. That is a big deal.
A big deal. One more.
Saying just about that. And to your leader, when we met, I said, how are you doing with prices? Prices are coming down. He said, we were up 40% because of Biden and inflation, and they're coming down, and they're coming down rapidly. So I hope that all continues to go, but we're really doing well as a country. Most importantly, however, I will tell big picture, we have over $17 trillion being invested in our country in 9 months. It's now just about ready to crack 18, and by the end of 1 year, we will have about $20 to $21 trillion invested in our country. That's more by 10 times the highest amount ever invested in any country ever before, and it's largely because of tariffs and, I think, November 5th election, but it's the largest amount. As an example, so if we have 20 or 21 in 1 year, 21 trillion, think of what that is. That's car factories, that's AI, it's everything. They're all coming back because of the tariffs. They're all coming back because they don't want to pay 15, 20, 30, 100% tariff. It wasn't that complicated. People are saying, you know, Trump was right. It really wasn't that complicated, but it's been amazing. As an example, if you take me at 20 for 1 year, Sleepy Joe Biden, you know what he was? Less than 1 for 4 years. And if they got elected, they would have been at -10 because people were moving out of the country in record numbers, and welfare and
President's going on about his record there. One last one, and this is the one I need to take a little bit of issue with.
expensive. We have a couple of items like coffee, which is a little high. We're going to get that down. You saw that today. The coffee comes down. Remember when I first took over? Eggs. My third day in office, I have a news conference, and the fake news media was screaming at me, Mr. Congressman, about eggs. Remember that? I'm standing there very innocent. Hello. Do you have any questions? What about eggs? What about them? They're up 4 times. I said, look, I just got here. I'm sorry. And Brooke Rollins and Department of Agriculture did a phenomenal job. And they said, don't order eggs for Easter because you won't be able to get them. And they said, we have a big Easter egg hunt at the White House. It's sort of a thing that has gone on for 100 years. They said, could you order plastic eggs? I said, I'm not ordering plastic eggs. We're going to have eggs down by that time. And by the time we got to Easter, the price of eggs had fallen precipitously. We had all the eggs in this country you want. And we know what we're doing. I mean, we know what we're doing. We rebuilt our military.
He's right on eggs, and it was always stupid for Democrats to put their eggs in one basket on an attack on the president. But the other price issue is a problem because the average cost of groceries for a family of 4 in this country is up to $1,030 a month. And that's actually up from the beginning of this year. If you got my morning Substack piece, I put a map in there. And the map is prepared by a research institute called the Arbor Data Science. And let me just give you the data. The data is through July of this year, the 12-month change in grocery prices. And it's gone up a little bit since July. I just don't have the updated data. But the price of groceries is up 6.2% in Wyoming, 4.9% in Georgia, 6.4% in Florida. It's up 6.4% in Connecticut. It's up 4.8% in Kansas. It's up 6% in Missouri. It's up 5.4% in California, 4.5% in Oregon. It's up 5.9% in Louisiana, 5.10% in Texas, 5.4% in Oklahoma. It's up 4.3% in South Carolina, 3.5% in North Carolina, 3.6% in Virginia. Around the country, 4.4% in Ohio. Around the country, a basket of groceries, the same basket of groceries has in 1 year, from July of last year to July of this year, gone up. It's actually gone up. There are certain prices that have come down. Eggs, for example, have come down. Coffee is expensive because of the tariff, and the president kind of acknowledges the tariff on coffee is to blame. He doesn't want to say it's to blame, but it is to blame. I want to recommend something to the president and his team, but first I got to play you this. I put together this video myself of Jared Bernstein, who is Biden's economic advisor, and Stephen Miller, who's the president's advisor. Listen to how similarly they sound.
Well, I agree with you that the Democrat media lies for a living, that they're professional liars.
There was another study that I found looked to me that was pretty rigorous, that suggested that the media tends to write about the gas price when it goes north of $3.50 and not when it goes south of $3.50.
So it's a good opportunity to review the facts. Under President Trump in the last few months, we have seen the first significant reductions in prices and the cost of living since the last time President Trump was in office.
So let me hit you with a few numbers. So airline tickets down 13% over the past year. Car rentals 10%. Eggs 22%. Thanksgiving dinner, to be a bit topical, down 4.5%, with turkey down about 6%. That's deflation. That is lower prices in those areas.
For 4 years, we saw record-setting double-digit inflation upwards of 20%. And now under President Trump, inflation is back down to desired benchmark levels of a little bit over 2%. But to be clear, President Trump is doing more every single day to keep bringing costs down.
People are the best arbiter of how they're doing. And if they tell us they're struggling, we're listening to them. But we don't stop there. We take action to help lower costs in precisely the areas that people tell us they're having difficulty with, whether it's childcare, housing, whether it's energy, whether it's junk fees. We're doing all we can to lower.
President Trump is fighting to reduce the cost of energy.
You can't sound like the Biden White House. And you're sounding like the Biden White House. And here's a point. Stephen Miller was on Newsmax. If you are less than a year from the midterms and you're having to go on Newsmax and reassure people that you're taking prices seriously and grocery prices are coming down, you're struggling. You shouldn't have to be on Newsmax reassuring Newsmax viewers that grocery prices are coming down. And by the way, they're not. You shouldn't have to be on Newsmax. You should be on ABC, CBS, and NBC, where the average middle-class person is watching the nightly news. They're not on Newsmax. That's where conservatives go. And if you're having to tell conservatives, relax, things are okay, things definitionally aren't okay, you got a problem, White House. You need to deal with it. I've got some thoughts for you when we come back. Guys, if you struggle to come up with gifts for family members, I got a suggestion for you, the Cove Pure. I love mine. I wasn't sure I would like it as much as I do, and I really, really, really do. What is a Cove Pure? Well, it's an water filtration system. It's on the countertop. You can get cold water. You can get hot water. It even has a bottle button, so you can get the warm bottle perfect for formula for your baby at night. It's really easy. It's so convenient. I use it all the time in my office. You will love it. It sits on the countertop. It uses reverse osmosis. It gets rid of like pharmaceuticals, fluoride, lead, arsenic. It's the purest water you can get. It tastes fantastic. If you're looking for a great gift for your loved ones or for yourself that they're actually going to use the Cove Pure. I partnered with them. They're giving you a $250 holiday discount with my link, covepure.com/Eric. That's COVEPURE.com/Eric, ERICK. You get $250 off, covepure.com/Eric. The sale is going to end, so take advantage of this $250 holiday discount, covepure.com/Eric. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. I've got 5 ideas that I think the President of the United States and his team need to deploy. I wrote about them this morning. If you text Eric to 33777, you can get the show notes and you get those points. But let me just tell you, I think one is there needs to be a new reconciliation package to reduce tax burdens further and particularly focus on employment incentives for businesses through the taxes. 2, I think it's time to tell the public we have established fair trade. Now it's time to go to free trade, and we'll go 0 for 0 with countries. You give us 0 tariffs, we give you 0 tariffs, and get rid of the tariffs as quickly as possible, except China. Force redistribution of American supply chains out of China. Get rid of every single tariff that applies to any sort of grocery immediately. Expand oil drilling offshore, included along states that don't want it. Do it anyway. And then work with Republican states to draft state-level legislation to curtail the regulatory burden on home building, particularly in the permitting process. Speed that up to reduce the cost of homes. Do those 5 things now. Now, let me tell you, before I move on to other stuff, I need to tell you about Eden Pure. You can get 3 of them for less than $200. They're a thunderstorm. It's an air purifier. It gets rid of dust and pollen. It gets rid of pet dander. It also eliminates 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, and it wipes out odors. That's actually how I use it. You can plug it up with a USB cord in your car. If you have a USB outlet, you can also plug it into a wall with a regular outlet, and it just works to eliminate odors. No odor can stand up to it. Smoke odors, litter box odors, any pet odor, crying odors, musty odors. They just get wiped out by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. I've used them on my back porch, in my kitchen, in rental cars, and hotel rooms, and they eliminate odors. I keep one in my travel bag because they're small and highly portable. So you get 3 of them for less than $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3, at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3. Call them today and eliminate all odors. Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very, very happy to have you. The president, by the way, you should note, is thinking of attacking now the Colombian drug lords, not just the Venezuelan drug lords. There's also some breaking news. A federal judge has blocked Texas's congressional redistricting. It's a 2-1 ruling ordering that it rely on its 2021 maps. That may also forestall the California situation, because California is premised on the deployment of Texas's maps. You should know that the judge who wrote the decision is a Trump appointee. The judge pausing the new lines in Texas. That's all happening now. Now, while all of that is, and also it looks like an appellate court has just thrown out Donald Trump's lawsuit against CNN. Now, I gotta talk about the healthcare situation. Everett Dirksen was the very famous Republican leader in Washington, D.C. in the U.S. Senate. And he had a line. It's attributed to him. It may not be from him, but it's most often attributed to him. I've had it attributed to me because I say it so often. I'm like, no, not me. I mean, I'll take credit for it. It's a good line, but I think it's Everett Dirksen it belongs to. Everett Dirksen's line is that in Washington, D.C., there are two parties, the stupid party and the evil party. Every once in a while, the stupid party and the evil party get together and does something that is both stupid and evil, and the press calls that bipartisan. In Washington, D.C. right now, behind the scenes, there are Republican and Democratic lawmakers getting together to discuss a bipartisan plan to extend the Obamacare subsidies that the Democrats themselves voted to get rid of. And this is now from Politico today. Republicans in the House are just starting to have serious discussions about how to address skyrocketing health insurance premiums. They'll have to move fast to catch up with their Senate counterparts who are weeks ahead of them in complex and politically contentious deliberations. After a lengthy recess, House Republicans are together again in person and coming to the drawing board on the policy issue that prolonged the longest government shutdown in history, the enhanced tax credits for the Affordable Care Act insurance premiums that are due to expire at the end of the year without congressional action. They'll have to their first conference-wide conversation today on whether they'll seek to negotiate an extension with Democrats or forge ahead on a separate conservative health care item. According to people granted anonymity to share internal party strategy, Republican leaders will lead a high-level discussion in their closed-door meeting focused on how to address rising health care costs, laying out key Republican principles, and charting a path forward for putting legislation together. By their own admission, House Republicans are only at the beginning stages of negotiations, while the Senate Republicans are pretty far along. It's causing anxiety in the House GOP among members who don't want to be forced to swallow whatever the Senate comes up with. I don't want to get jammed by the Senate. We've got a lot of smart people in the House, says Greg Murphy, a congressman from North Carolina, member of the House Ways and Means Committee. I've been ravenous for a health care overhaul literally since the first day I was in Congress, so just working with the three different committees, and hopefully we can do something sooner rather than later, and House members have their work cut out for them. Now, this comes as the House Freedom Caucus and the Republican Study Committee have excoriated the extended credits. See, here's what's going on. The House moderates are trying to work together on a bipartisan basis, and by moderates, I mean the Republican moderates and the liberals who are not progressives on the Democratic side. They want to extend the Obamacare tax subsidies. On the Senate side, Senate Democrats and Republicans are together trying to find a way forward to extend those health care subsidies. I would just remind all of you that it was the Democrats themselves who got rid of them. It was the Democrats who said they wanted to get rid of the health care subsidies. They voted to get rid of it. They only used it as a political weapon when they thought they had an opportunity against the Republicans with voters, and that's what they did. But the Democrats wanted to get rid of them because the Democrats also understand that continuing to extend these subsidies is enriching insurance companies and not really helping people. Now, the president wants to give direct payments to individuals to buy plans, but that's also a subsidy. Let me just say, let me do this at a basic level because we're seeing this with tariffs. It's an example I keep coming back to because it's the most prescient example that you can understand. And let me talk about tariffs this way. So if a tariff raises a price by $15, right now the company sells its widget for $1 and the American company sells its widget for $1. Maybe because it's American made, maybe it's $1.10. So people buy the $1 foreign widget. So a tariff is applied and it drives the foreign widget price up to $15. Well, now the American widget is $1.10 and the foreign widget is $15. What the American widget manufacturer will very many times do is raise his widget price to $10, $11, $12, $13, or $14. So the American widget is now $14 and the foreign widget is $15. So you're still buying the American widget, but the cost of that American widget has gone up over $13. Prices have gone up. That's not it's treated as inflationary, but it's not really inflationary because it's a one-time price increase. It doesn't keep rising. So now here's the thing. This is a lady called yesterday, Omega called yesterday. She said, why don't we give tax deductions for rent? Here's the problem with the tax deduction for rent. Let's say you deduct the $500 that you're paying for rent. You get to deduct that price out of your income taxes. Well, then why doesn't the landlord raise the price of rent to $1,000? So now you get to deduct $1,000. The landlord gets more money, you get the tax deduction, but can you really afford the $1,000 a month in rent? Because you don't get the tax deduction until next year. Can you really afford to do it? For the landlord's like, they're going to get the money back. I might as well raise the price. They may not double it, but they'll raise it, and rental prices will go up because of the tax deduction. In the same way, if the president gives you $2,000 a month to pay for your health insurance, a lot of insurers are going to raise their prices because you're getting freebie money. You're getting freebie money from the government, and it's not really freebie money. You understand that, but you feel like it's free money from the government to buy your health insurance. You're getting $2,000 a month from the government, so every healthcare company in America is going to raise their prices knowing, hey, you got $2,000 from the government. So now you chip in some more. Prices will go up. This is the way it tends to work. Subsidies tend to cause price increases. So we're looking at subsidizing, and when you subsidize, there's no incentive to bring down costs. You got to understand that. That's basic economics. A subsidy disincentivizes decreases in price. Look at college prices now. College academic prices are going up faster than the rate of inflation because you can get a student loan for which you pay nothing the entire time you're in college. You only get hit with the bill after you get out of college. There is no incentive for colleges to rein in prices when you're getting subsidized by the government to go to college. That's the problem with the Obamacare healthcare subsidies. They were put in place because of COVID. People needed help during COVID. They couldn't work. A lot of people were out of work, so the government was covering their costs. So the Democrats themselves decided to have those expire. The COVID subsidies for health care, the Democrats voted to expire them. Only when the Republicans took office and only when the government shutdown came along, the Democrats seized on those expiration benefits that they themselves orchestrated to try to make it an issue with the GOP. It was smart politics on their side, but what does it ultimately do? It raises the price of health care in this country. United Healthcare is getting very, very wealthy, offering Obamacare plans and it's getting subsidized by the government. The insurance companies are getting very wealthy. Your prices are going up still. There's got to be a better option. I've mentioned this before. I, as a small business with 4 or 5 employees, I can't offer health care. It's too expensive. It would bankrupt my company if I offered health care. Healthcare prices have gone up so much, many small businesses are priced out of offering it, and it forces their employees onto Obamacare. I don't want my employees on Obamacare, but unfortunately, that's where they are because I don't have a private sector option. There are certainly like Medishare and those Christian plans that we could do. That's not really health insurance, though. And small businesses are the ones getting hurt. Big businesses can still offer healthcare. And it's, by the way, it's more expensive for them. My company is a very large company that I work for, the Cox Media Group, and our insurance out-of-pocket costs are going up. Their costs are going up. And I don't blame them. In fact, I sent HR a note and told them I appreciated the hard work they did to try to figure out the solution because it's not easy and it's the government manufactured problem. Obamacare has caused this problem. And the Republicans would love to come up with a way to get rid of Obamacare. Obamacare is not popular, but you start tinkering with people's health care and people get a little bit upset with you and you get the blame. Even as people hate Obamacare, they're on it, and they don't want their plans messed with. And that's part of the problem Republicans are going to have to deal with. Subsidizing Obamacare and continuing Obamacare is not a good idea. Continuing the government subsidy just prolongs the pain and also drives us closer to bankrupt. We gotta, as a country, come up with a better solution than what we have. And no one in Washington, particularly on the Republican side, seems to have it. And I know those solutions are out there. And one of the solutions is creating larger pools. You know, small businesses are restricted to a degree in how they can cooperate with other small businesses to grow their pool of people because there's an economies of scale issue. A company that has 5,000 employees gets a better per employee cost of healthcare than a company with 5 employees. So if you can add all the small businesses together to get up to 5,000 employees, you get a better pool. But even that's becoming more expensive, and there are restrictions in how small businesses can pool together. There shouldn't be. You should be allowed to buy across state lines. You shouldn't have to require all of these requirements that you got to cover mammograms and pregnancy and stuff. You got a company full of men. Why should you have to do this? And yet you have to do this. And the thing is, you spread it all out and you lower the cost. It's not really working that way. It's driving up costs for everybody. And people are getting penalized. The Republicans, I would recommend they spend more time dealing with that than trying to deal with the short-term cost. If anything, I frankly think that requiring Americans to feel the cost of what Obamacare is giving them should be a reminder to them Obamacare was a bad idea. The concern among Republicans is that people will feel this and say, well, maybe we should go the Mamdani route and have pure socialism and government-run health care. That was always the design of Obamacare, to break the backs of Americans so that they give up their resistance to a government-run health care plan. That was always the design of Obamacare, and Republicans should hold the line on this and not fall for it and not allow Obamacare to continue. We got to come up with something new. The current system is broken. There's no reason to perpetuate a health care subsidy that the Democrats themselves voted to get rid of. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. Folks, we're still trying to help raise money for people at Thanksgiving. We're behind last year, and I understand the economy has something to do with that as well. But if you would consider texting the word donate to 33777 and follow the link to Hungry for a Day. We're partnered with them now for 5 years, and they help soup kitchens and food banks stock up for the holiday season. And if you donate just $40, you'll be providing a Thanksgiving meal to a family of 4, and that includes like the turkey or the ham. It's their choice, turkey or ham, and then the sides and the dessert around the country. They work to figure out what's best in certain neighborhoods and communities, whether it's turkey preference. You know, some people don't have the means to cook the turkey, but they can do a smoked ham because all they got to do is heat it up. And they've been very thoughtful and deliberative, but they need help. If you text donate to 33777, I'd appreciate it. Keith, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey, Eric, thanks for taking my call. I just got a couple questions. One is related to what would happen if we went back to the gold exchange to our dollar to the gold. And the second is there's a lot of rumors, I guess, floating on social media about getting rid of the debt because of crypto like Bitcoin. I didn't know if you could kind of expound on those, and I'll just kind of hang up and listen.
On the first one, I honestly, Keith, I don't know what would happen, but I suspect it would be bad, and here's why. There are a lot of people who love the idea of going back to the gold standard because you have essentially a fixed amount of gold tied to every dollar is backed by a dollar's worth of gold, essentially. And it sounds great and reasonable and plausible. However, over time, it caused lots of economic problems in the United States and other countries that did it. And now China is driving up the gold price in large part because they want trades in gold away from the American reserve currency. We have what's called fiat currency, which is essentially all the world's countries got together and said everybody's currency is going to be valued at X. Go forth and prosper. And there's a lot of suspicion there, obviously, about the way it works. It's not necessarily the best system, but it's the system we have. I don't think we're ever going to transition fully to crypto in large part because there's deep suspicions about cryptocurrency within government, even as they pretend to like it. I myself have suspicions. What is cryptocurrency? It is a currency. You can say blockchain and whatnot. You can quote all the buzzwords, but at the end of the day, it's a group of people around the world who have assigned a value to an algorithm, and it's essentially fiat currency is what it is. You can disagree with me, and that's fine, but collectively people have assigned a value to a Bitcoin based on an algorithm and its scarcity in the same way people have done the same with fiat currency, and we don't know who controls it all. There are lots of questions about it, and if you like it, that's fine. My eyes glaze over when people try to explain it to me. People are making money off of it right now, but I don't know that that's going to be forever, and I'm really skeptical of cryptocurrency in large part because all the crypto bros I see online seem to be some major con artists and taking advantage of more gullible people. Listen, I don't mean to bash cryptocurrency, and I recognize that I am. I'm just deeply skeptical of it at the end of the day. I'm in the Charlie Munger camp on that. God rest his soul. There's certainly value in it. People are making money off of it right now. I know plenty of crypto bros who all come off as a certain sort of oddity, but I'm skeptical long term of cryptocurrency, even as it goes more and more mainstream. There's just I got concerns, and I don't think we're going to transition there. Now, let me tell you about Americans for Prosperity. They're actually very pro-crypto Americans for Prosperity. I'm the skeptic in the group when I get together with them. They love it, and they love common sense conservative reforms, and they're advocating them around the country. They'd love to have you involved. You can go to afpvolunteer.com today and sign up with Americans for Prosperity, afpvolunteer.com, and you get great options in learning about conservative policy, advancing conservative policy, learning how to advance conservative policy, learning what those policies are. They get you engaged on the ground. They get you engaged with free markets and free people across the country. I'm on their board of advisors. They've got chapters in just about every state. I think every state now. You go to afpvolunteer.com, afpvolunteer.com, sign up with Americans for Prosperity, get engaged in the process of advancing freedom, and you'll learn a lot about what's out there and get hope in the country. afpvolunteer.com.